keep Below the Belt alive without our Cowboys insider with some roster comparisons. Time to give credit to Jerry, Steven, or is it just going to be Will McClay?
Well, who knows? Could be just Will McClay, but they ESPN ranked the rosters in the National Football League 1 through 53. And I was surprised right off the bat. Who do you think is the best roster in the NFL?
Well, these lists keep having Kansas City up there, but I feel like Kansas City doesn't have the best overall roster.
Right.
Philadelphia or San Francisco?
Yeah,
that's what I'm guessing.
Philadelphia's number 2.
Okay.
Kansas City's number 1.
Kansas City's number 1.
And like, look, if you're weighing this from the standpoint that
if you're telling me they have the best roster and the best quarterback, then they should be, 16-1.
They should never lose.
Yeah.
Like Mahomes is so good, it doesn't really matter. Like, just are they the best 2 through 53? I don't think so. I think there's a slew of teams better. But they had them at number 1, and I assume they are heavily weighing Patrick Mahomes. Quarterback is their strongest unit. Safety is their weakest. The X factor is going to be left tackle Donovan Smith. The non-starter to know is Justin Ross. He led college football with an absurd 5.1 yards per route run. Injuries have derailed his career, but it's hard to forget those numbers. Number 2, Philadelphia. Their strongest unit, O-line, 4 starters returning. Their weakest is off-ball linebacker and safety. This is a perfect example here of Howie Roseman.
2 positions he doesn't value.
He doesn't value them. He doesn't put any weight into them. And it doesn't matter that they're not any good. Safety and off-ball linebacker are very, very weak. And guess what? He still had a really good player at off-ball linebacker. Like, T.J. Edwards and Kazir White were both there. And they both, T.J. Edwards got paid. So they wound up drafting Kobe Dean. And, at safety, they've got, they let go of C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Marcus Epps. So Terrell Evans and Reed Blankenship are in there. They don't put a lot of stock into those positions. They don't. They put stock into O-line, into quarterback, and a wide receiver. The X factor is Darius Slay and James Bradbury. The non-starter to know is a safety in Sidney Brown. Number 3. Good. You had
San Fran or Cincinnati?
Buffalo.
Buffalo's
3. Safety is their strongest unit with Micah Hyde. The weakest unit, this is surprising, it's wide receiver depth. So after Diggs and Gabe Davis, what do you got? Much. So that's it's a bit of a weak unit. Safeties, Poyer and Micah Hyde are the X factor, and then the non-starter to know is a wide receiver, Deontay Hardy.
Okay.
All right, number 4.
The Dallas Cowboys?
No. Miami. Corner's a weak link. I'm sorry, corner's the strongest. Tight end is the weak link. They let Gesicki go.
Got Ramsey.
Yep, they have Ramsey. The X factor is the O-line because you got to protect Tua. So that's I think Miami's a really good roster. They really are.
Yes.
Next, number 5.
They're very dangerous.
Number 5.
Well, I'm guessing all wrong on these. Cincinnati.
Hey! Strongest unit is the wideouts. The weakest is the safety. These are all good teams. A lot of these teams have safety as a weak unit. X factor is right tackle Jonah Williams. The non-starter to know is running back Chase Brown, a 5th-round pick. Number 6.
Detroit Lions. Oh.
Edge rusher's the strongest unit. Micah Parsons began his career in a hybrid role. But
edge rusher's the strongest.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has settled in as one of the best edge rushers. His 30% pass rush win rate. Best among edge defenders in 2022. Tank Lawrence should be the top edge on most defenses, and this unit also returns from quality depth.
Something that needs to be said, the Cowboys are in a top 5, top 6 on this list every single year. They get double-digit wins. That's something to really hang your hat on. It really is. I think that's what you were kind of pointing out yesterday when we were debating Mike McCarthy's job status. Whether you want to give the credit to Jerry, Steven, here's the way I break down the credit. I give Will McClay the credit for evaluating the talent. I give Steven the credit for managing the finances with the talent, and I give Jerry the credit for letting the other two guys do their thing. That's the three-headed. That's the three-headed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a monster. I know Jerry, that's the least amount of credit, letting the other guys do the actual work, but I don't think his ego is as involved as it was, in the 90s. But they always have a really good roster, and that roster usually produces 11, 12 wins. That's what the goal is.
Yeah. So
that's where it starts.
If you look at this and so edge rusher's the strongest. The weakest is the weak link unit on this team is
linebacker,
interior D-line.
Interior D-line. Oh, shots fired, Mozzie.
They've struggled to solve his defensive line problems in recent years. We can't anoint Mozzie as an impact player before seeing him in a game. There's hope for the unit, though. Osa, Neville, Hankins, Bohanna, Chauncey Golson, perhaps Fehoko. X Factor for 2023 is...
Is it a player or a unit?
It is a player.
Brandon Cooks.
Close.
Not Gallup.
Stephon Gilmore. Same free agent class.
Deion Sanders, according to Bobby.
He has never allowed more than 1.2 yards per coverage snap in a single season.
Wow.
All right. And has allowed 1.0 on an average in that span per next gen. He isn't just consistent. He offers upside. He has 2 seasons with a minus 30 EPA allowed, most notably his 2019 season. A good to great Gilmore takes their defense from threatening to scary. The non-starter to know is Sam Williams. The second-round pick only rushed the passer 141 times last year, posted a 20% pass rush win rate.
Nice.
Not win weight.
Said it well.
At edge when he did, according to analytics and NFL Next Gen, that would be ranked 12th at the position had he qualified. So it's a good roster.
Yeah.
It's a good roster. Now, this is also, part of this is, this team.
And this is according to who?
ESPN. So they've had one of them. How do you have one of the most talented rosters over the last 15 years, which they have?
Yeah.
And you've got nothing to show for it. And I think part of that is that, they are very focused on overall talent with a less focus on positional value, whereas Philadelphia is the opposite. And Philadelphia has gone to the Super Bowl twice in 6 years, and they've kind of maximized that with Howie because they don't really care about talent. They care about the positional value. And I just think that, it's a little interesting way that they sit there and the differences between those two. The Chargers are 7.
Yeah. It's wherever the Chargers are, we got to be lurking. Wherever we are, they got to be lurking.
Edge is number 1. Interior defensive line is number 2. Is the weak link for them. Their X Factor is Kellen Moore.
Ooh. Does it say anything about him in it?
Yep. That says this team has the roster to be a top 5 offense or better. Under Joe Lombardi, that never materialized. And the question now is whether Moore can unleash Justin Herbert and this offense's true potential. 8, San Francisco. Front 7 is the strongest. O-line is the weakest.
With the terrible Deebo Samuel, according to Roberto.
That's right. Brock Purdy is the X Factor. Non-starter to know is Elijah Mitchell, the running back. Cleveland 9. The Jets 10. And there's your top 10.
There it is.
Now, real quick.
Yeah.
There is no New York Giants or Washington Commanders in the top 16.
Really?
No.
Thank goodness.
16 is Minnesota, 17 is Detroit.
I'm so tired of this freaking Giant hype.
The Giants are 18th. Interior defensive line is number 1. Wide receivers, their weakest unit. Sterling Shepard is the non-starter to know. Wait, we all know Sterling Shepard. He's been around for a decade.
Yeah.
How does that happen? And then Washington is, let's see, not 20, not 21, not 22, or 23. They are 24th.
Oh.
Quarterback is their weakest unit. That ain't a good thing to have the weak unit on. Not a good thing.
They want to draft one. Fine with Sam Howell.
Yep. Wow, you could have had. They could have had Will Levis, right? He was available.
Is he the X Factor?
Chase Young is the X Factor. And the non-starter to know is Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, okay.
He ranked 8th at QBR last year with the Browns.
8th?
Before Watson came back and took over. Now, look, and Watson needed to play. You had to get rid of some of the cobwebs from not playing for a while.
All right, there it is. Nice job. No drop-off whatsoever.